ذكرى حبيب ومنزلي بسقط اللوى بين الدخول فحوملي فتوضح فالمقراط لم يعف رسمها لما نسجتها من جنوب وشمال. Do you understand anything from what I am saying? I see some Arab faces. Do not understand anything? This is because we are very far away from the classical Arabic poem. And this is what we are discussing today. Which culture? Arabic culture, huh? Okay. Our Arabic culture here is the pre-Islamic one. So let's go back to the pre-Islamic era and let's see together. This is which place? Mecca. Mecca before Islam. This was the simple picture that you can see. And then you have the picture of the tribes and the camels, the desert, and the wars in the pre-Islamic era. You can see the idols there, and you can see some traditions there in the pre-Islamic era. Okay, so let's see. The Arabian desert was between the Red Sea and between the Indian Gulf and between the Persian Gulf. And in this place was born our famous poet of today that we'll talk about. This is a question. How was this culture transmitted within the pre-Islamic Arabia? Is it oral narrative or is it written narrative? Oral narrative. Because actually they were illiterate and they cannot write. And the Arabian Peninsula between Africa, between Asia, between Europe, of course, tribes were going here and there and trading, and they were transmitting what was said in the Arabian Peninsula. Okay. So now, what are the kinds of oral literature there? There was the poet, the sha'ir. There was the soothsayer, the kahin, who was dealing with the jinn and the magic. There was the orator, the khatib. There was the storyteller, which is called the Qays. Okay, when the Islam came, it said generally that the soothsayer is totally wrong because he is dealing with the magic and the like. But when he came here to the poet,
وسيعلم الذين
So here, when the Islam came, it did not say that the poems are wrong generally, but it selected some poems or some, what we say, aims, aghrad, for the poems, and said that these are wrong saying, and this what we will see now in between our verses, that there are some verses that are not appropriate and others are the best and they are correct. Okay, let's have a general background about the Arabic pre-Islamic era, which was called Al-Jahiliyyah, meaning the time of ignorance or barbarity, which was, of course, the religion was the paganism. And in these days, the Arabs were divided among tribes. They were not one society. And these kingdoms, they had like the leader or the sheikh of this tribe. And the second one after the sheikh was the poet. The poet was a very important person in the tribe. And he was responsible for keeping the history and the genealogy of this tribe. And his poems were, he glorified his tribe and moved about the enemies. Some of the poems are called mu'allaqat. Some of them, not all of them. The mu'allaqat were 7 pre-Islamic Arabic poems. And these were from around the 6th century AD that are considered the best. What is the meaning of mu'allaqat? The meaning of the name mu'allaqat is the suspended. That is because they were suspended on the Kaaba and they were written with golden ink. These were the best. One of them is the Mu'allaqa of Imru'ul Qays, or the Golden Ode of Imru'ul Qays. Imru'ul Qays ibn Hujr al-Kindi, he was an Arabian poet in the 6th century AD, and he was the youngest son of the last kings of Kinda. He is sometimes called the father of the Arabic poetry. And we'll not talk so much about this introduction, but let's say what is the story behind his ode. So he fell in love with his cousin called Onayza. And he sought her company for a long time, but he cannot live with her or marry her. One day, the tribe loaded up their beasts and they departed. And he was very sad. And for this, he made 81 verses in his ode, in his golden ode, called قِفَا نَبْكِي مِنْ ذِكْرَى حَبِيبٍ وَمَنْزِلِ. And this is the part that I introduced my lecture with. Let's be somewhat academic and see the structural analysis of this ode. First, we shall say that the first 6 verses were about what we call nasib. The nasib is a state of holding over the abode, and we will see this in details, translated in English. And then the ghazal, his adventures with women, and of course you can see that this is a large part of his ode. And then the description of the night, because of the sorrow and how he is overwhelmed by the absence of his beloved. And then the description of the wolf, which is a night creature, and then the description of the horse. Okay, we will return at the last slide to this because I selected verses for each part. I don't want you to study the whole ode, but I selected verses and we will see. Let's begin with the nasib. So we have 5 components now. We will begin with the first one, which is the nasib. As I said, it refers to the stage of halting and yearning over the abode. Nasib of Imru'ul Qays in his ode begins traditionally, like other poets, begins by asking his companions to halt and help him in yearning over the atlal. This is the Arabic word of the abode and ruin of his beloved. It constitutes the first 6 verses of his ode.
قفا نبكي من ذكرى حبيب ومنزلي بسقط اللواء بين الدخول فحوملي.
Okay, he is talking to 2 of his companions who were with him and said to him, "Stop, O my friends, let us pause to weep over the remembrance of my beloved. Here was her abode on the edge of the sandy desert between Dakhul, and this is the first place, and between Hawmal. This is the second place. This is what the departure of the tribe went there."
فتوضح المقرات لم يعف رسمها لما نسجتها من جنوب وشمال.
Okay, so he's talking now about the traces of the tribe. You know, when someone misses his beloved, and he's talking about the traces, even the traces of the beast, of the camel, and he is saying that these traces were not totally obliterated, and there's still sands there that are saying this is the traces of Unayza, his cousin. And even if the north wind sweeps it away, but the other wind, which is the south wind, blows the sand.
ترى بعر الأرآم في عرصاتها وقعانها كأنه حب فلفل.
Even he is talking about the dung of the wild, and he is saying it is like the pepper, like the seeds of pepper that you can see now. Yani, now he is loving everything, contacting his beloved Unayza.
كأني غداة البين يوم تحملوا لدى سمرات الحي ناقف حنظلي.
And he is describing the morning of his separation with her, how he was as if he stood in the gardens of his tribe. And you know that there is the colossus, this is the fruit. He was like it, stable, without any movement.
وقوفا بها صحبي علي مطيهم يقولون لا تهلك أسا وتجملي.
So when his 2 companions saw this, they said, "Oh, please, yani, do not kill yourself. You are in a very grief state, and you shall bear the sorrow patiently."
وإن شفائي عبرة مهراقة فهل عند رسم دارس من معولي.
So he said, "Please keep away from me. My cure is these tears that I gave. These are the cure." And this is the 6 first verses I said about the nasib, that refers to how he stood up and his state of yearning over the abode. And then let's go to the ghazal. And although it is a long part or a long section in his ode, but I actually selected one verse from this. It's not a place to say the adventures with his beloved women before, yani. This section proves the poet's centrality and preoccupation about woman and the high esteem position it occupies in his mind. And this is the value of the woman in the pre-Islamic era, that in fact it is a tradition of the poets before and after Imru'ul Qays.
أغرك مني أن حبك قاتل وأنك مهما تأمر القلب يفعل.
Of course, it's not a secret that Imru'ul Qays is a series of 30 episodes that is there on the YouTube. Qatar has issued this, and this is a part of it. Okay. He said to her, has anything deceived you about me? That your love is killing me, and that verily as often as you order my heart, it will do what you order. This is his state, yeah. So the image depicted of the woman is even, it is one of two things, describing her physical appearance, or it is comparing her with other abstract things. This what you will find in the Arabic poems in the pre-Islamic era. Let's go to the description of the night. And of course, when you connect the description of the night with the description of his beloved, you will see that he is feeling sorrow and grief and overwhelmed. And because of this, this section doesn't describe the physical night itself. No, rather than describing the dark night or the darkness of the soul of Imru'ul Qays. The poet's emotional life overwhelms him, and from the motionlessness of the stars, one can deduce a sense of spiritual analysis. Let's see.
فقلت له لما تمط أرخى سدوله علي بأنواع الهموم ليبتلي.
So now he is talking that this night lets down its curtains around me, and it has whelmed me as a wave of the sea to try me with sorrow. This is a very famous verse. وَلَيْلٍ كَمَوْجِ الْبَحْرِ أَرْخَى سُدُولَهُ عَلَيَّ بِأَنْوَاعِ الْهُمُومِ لِيَبْتَلِي. A very famous verse in this ode.
فقلت له لما تمطى بصلبه وأردف أعجازا وناء بكلكلي.
So he said to the night, as slowly his huge bulk passed over him, as his breast, his loins, his buttocks. These are three stages of the night. The night at the beginning, in the middle, at the end. So weighed on me and then passed afar. What did he say?
ألا أيها الليل الطويل ألا انجلي بصبح وما الإصباح أبدلي.
So he told the night, O long night, down will come. See how he is dealing with his troubles and problems. Even if he is in the night, so down will come, but will no brighter without my love. So it will come, but he is still in troubles and problems.
فيا لك من ليل كأن نجومه بكل مغار الفتل شدت بيذبلي.
See, he is seeing the length of the night with stars. They are as if there are ropes between the stars and a mountain called Yazbul. So it is يعني held to this mountain with ropes. And this is because it is stable. It cannot move out to get the down. And related to the wolf, related to the night, there is the wolf, which is a night creature whose howling is very loud, like the grief and pain he can feel in his heart. However, if the wolf does not find something to eat, it will become weak and may die. This is what he said in these 3 verses.
وواد كجوف العير قفر قطعته به الذئب يعوي كالخليع المعيل.
So he is talking now about the wolf and how he crossed a valley like the belly of the ass of barren land, where the wolf howled like a gambler whose family starves. So he is saying this, not describing the sound of the wolf, rather than saying that his grief and sorrow in his heart is because of the separation between him and Onaiza, and it is like the wolf howling.
فقلت له لما عوى إن شأننا قليل الغنى إن كنت لما تمولي.
Okay, so he is saying to the wolf, you gather as little wealth, as little prosperity as I. Of course, he is not talking about the food, but he is talking about his beloved, and he cannot find her after that she left the sand and went and departed with her tribe.
كلانا إذا ما نال شيئا أفاته ومن يحترث حرثي وحرثك يهزلي.
It is well known that the wolf and the lady or the woman is related together, and he is saying that if we do not find anything to gain, so we will remain thin. The wolf will remain thin without food, but he will remain as if in a state of spiritual paralysis, as we said, without his beloved. Everything is central about his love. Okay? And then he went to the 5th part, which is the description of the horse. Here, he leaves away his troubles. You shall know that an Arabic poet is a one who can put the woman as center for his life and puts as well the war with the enemies of his tribe, a center in his life. And the mean of war, the essential mean of war, was this of the horse. And because of this, he is trying now to get out of being sorry and grief and the like, to go to the state of war. And now he describes the horse, the symbol of power, solidity, and flexibility. Therefore, he described his horse's magnificence and how they are both ready for any action, meaning with the action, the war, of course. And this is a part that you can feel that it is bright.
وقد أغتدي والطير في وكناتها بمنجرد قيد الأوابد هيكلي.
Now he is describing his horse. The early morning. Now we left the night and the wolf and describing this state to the morning, while the birds were still nesting, I mounted my steed, well-bred has he, long-bodied, outstripping the wild beasts in speed. So you will find three descriptions of the horse. You will find that his hair is short, his body is long, and he can go very fast in the war.
فر مقبل مدبر معا كجلمود صخر حطه السيل من علي.
So again, this is a very important description. As I told you about وليل كموج البحر أرخى سدوله علي بأنواع الهموم ليبتلي. So there he was describing the night and how the night is causing to him the sorrow, and he feels like the night, and he told the night, ألا أيها الليل الطويل ألنجلي, go away, بصبح وما الإصباح منك بأمثلي. So go away with the dawn. Here he is describing the horse with مكر مفر مقبل مدبر معا كجلمود صخر حطه السيل من علي. So swift to attack, to flee, to turn, yet firm as a rock swept down by the torrent. Let's see this video.
When we talk about what an Arabian horse is, we first talk about Arabian horse type. There's 5 basic principles to Arabian horse type. The first being their head, second is their neck, third is their back and loin, fourth is their top line, and fifth is their tail carriage.
So there is legends about the Arabian horse. The Arabian horse is very characterized by being a very solid and strength horse. Of course, it has his neck, which is with the short hair. It is a strong one with a long body, and with his feet, he is very fast. And the tail, that it is at the top. All of this is like some descriptions of the horse, because he wants to take revenge. Because there is another tribe who killed his father, and when he was with his beloved and separation, and he was feeling this grief, he took the news or the event of the killing of his father, who was a king in his tribe. So he began to shift his ode to the horse and how he will enter the war.
أميت يزل اللبد عن حال متنه كما زلت الصفواء بالمتنزل.
Okay, now he is describing the horse, the color of the horse, and the smooth saddle slips from him as the rain from a smooth stone. Of course, these are detailed descriptions of the Arabian horse.
على العقب جياش كأن اهتزامه إذا جاش فيه حمله غلي مرجلي.
Here he is describing his sound, the sound of the horse, and fire boils within him like the snorting of a boiling kettle. And if you heard the sound of the horse, okay, never mind. It's like the boiling kettle. I think that you know the sound of the horse. It's not something strange, yani. So you can expect how he has a strong sound. مسح إذا ما السابحات على الونى أثرن غبارا بالكديد المركل. So still, he continues a full gallop when other horses are dragging their feet in the dust for weariness. يطير الغلام الخف عن صهواته ويلوي بأثواب العنيف المثقل. Of course, you can know. I don't know if anyone tried the gym or the sport of having the horse under him. The horse is flying in the air. So if you are not a very strong one to put your legs on the horse, it will go over and maybe you will lay down. Yeah. Okay. Now I want to tell you that these verses that I selected, you have to count them. First is the Nasib, verses from 1 to 6. And then the Ghazal, although it's a long one, but I only chose number 20 of the verses. Number 3 is the description of the night. And I selected 4 verses. Number 4 is the description of the wolf, that I selected 3 verses. And finally, the description of the horse, which is 6 verses. If you counted these verses, you will find how many? 20 out of, I said, 81. So it is the quarter, and it is a gift from me to you to select these verses. Of course, we have the introduction, the 20 verses of this ode. It's very much to have like 81 verses. So please focus on this. You will find, inshallah, that everything will be easy after the explanation. And thank you.